my name is Melissa Carini, and I am a scuba diver, a SCUBA Talk show co-host, a student, and a waitress. I got into scuba diving about 5 years ago. I got into it because during that time in my life, things were being really hard. I was having a hard time figuring out what I wanted to do with myself, and I always had a deep love for marine biology, probably stemming from my obsession with Ariel and the Little Mermaid. So to kind of get closer to that, I just took a class at my local JC where I was attending and taking chemistry and stuff at the time. So it was a good creative and active outlet for myself, and it ended up being a really big part of my life, so I like it. The craziest dive I've ever been on, I was really blessed to one day go to the Galapagos Islands. And that day, we were supposed to go see the hammerhead sharks, and the boat driver didn't want to take us there. So me and this really wonderful woman from South America, Christine, completely pressured him to make him take us out there. And as we were there, we're like, okay, there's not going to be any sharks, there's not going to be anything, even though this is really cool. And out of a distance, we had a viz about 50 feet, you just see these like 4 forms kind of growing and getting closer, and they ended up being these hammerhead sharks, and we just watched them emerge from the horizon and then just get closer to us. I'm co-host of a radio show called SCUBA Talk Now, Pirates Radio, and we go out of 12:40 a.m. KNRY on Sunday mornings. And I got that from Stephen Levinson sending me an email saying that this new radio show was looking for some sort of co-host to do weather and sciencey stuff, and I was like, well, pick me. I was kind of intimidated because it was really early on Sunday mornings, and I didn't know if I could wake up at 5 every Sunday. But I also figured this was exactly what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, so, I mean, I already had all my Saturday nights, you know, it's kind of nice. I'll give that up for a little bit to sort of get this experience, and it's been really cool. I'm in charge of interviews, so I get to call all of the nerdy science people I want, like my dream, like all the people from NOAA and any scientists that I want, and I can be like, hey, want to come on our show? And I get this privileged 15 minutes with them where I get to ask them anything I want and get their opinions, and I get to pretend on NPR for 2 hours, which is really, really cool. I've been able to go on a lot of really cool dives for the show. We are just starting, and so our eventual goal is to grow big enough to where we have like resorts and dive resorts call us and be like, hey, we'll let you stay here for free if you review us on our show. But through this program, I get to not only co-host a show, but I get to dive for pretty much no charge, which is great because I can actually get experience. A big misconception about scuba diving is that it's really difficult, and I can tell you after going to my intro to video class yesterday and trying to work the camera, it was a lot more difficult to learn how to work the camera and film equipment than it is to work scuba equipment. It's really just procedure and understanding your gear.
We've got like the tiny boats like Stuart Little.
The most important thing I think I've learned from scuba diving is, you know, when you are down underwater and there is something that goes wrong, you really have the chance to understand the cycle of panic that the human body kind of goes through. And once you have the chance to encounter that, control it, and diffuse it, you end up being such a stronger-minded person, and it's really an empowering activity. And that's why I think, like, especially what, you know, you guys are doing and stuff in media is really important, because you have the ability to portray that magical, cool side of stuff to the conceptual and make it in a really accessible way, which I think is a really important job of like documentaries or any sort of media outlet.
This is invertebrate egg cases.
Not sure if your audio is on. But that's what's cool about the beach. You look down, if they don't clean the beach very often, you can actually find really cool little bits of life right there on the sea, not just seashells. Thank you so much for being interested in me and what I do. I think it's very cool.